We got to look for stuff like this. It's a transition in thinking, not just a transition in the farm.
The sun went down last night. It came up tomorrow. It's coming up again the day after. So there's always a way.
Why do you want to charge ahead and make decisions on your own? When you're wrong, you're alone. And if we want to be wrong, let's be wrong together, because we're going to be wrong in business.
Producers that are going straight to the investors and, hey, can we sell some of our land and rent it back? In a way, it's reducing their risk, right? Reducing their loan kind of exposure out there. But I mean, there's such a massive transition that is about to happen in the next, 5 to 10 years in Canada, like these farms to transition. We also need a transition in how we think, Dan. It doesn't necessarily have to be, the guy buying it buys it all, right? Maybe it is in partnership with an investor. So they buy half and the investor buys half and they rent it back. Or maybe it's an equity partner, right? Like I think we're going to see a lot of innovation come out of these transitions over the next 2 to 3 years, and I think we need it, right? If we're gonna maintain these values, try to protect everyone's equity and net worth, we got to look for stuff like this. It's a transition in thinking, not just a transition in the farm.
Wade, do we have enough capital to get everything transitioned that needs to be transitioned in the next 1 or 2 or 3 decades?
There's nowhere near enough capital available, and that's one of the flags being raised. If you look deep enough, those signals are out there. And Tim's, we talked about this earlier today, and we've talked about it in the past. What are the future relationships going to look like between lenders? And everybody says, well, lender. So you'll go to the bank and you'll borrow money, but they're hesitant to become involved with what I'm going to term a partner instead of an investor. At the end of the day, the money's still there. And maybe that partner is got to put some skin in the game. Maybe they got to be part of that operation somehow from, financing inputs and so on and so forth. Things will be developed. There will be ways to do it. And again, that's where we need to have those chats. I think there's going to be a lot of changes in the coming years. And there's going to be a way to do it. The sun went down last night. It came up tomorrow. It's coming up again the day after. So there's always a way.
Tomorrow. Tim, what do you got to add to that?
Oh yeah, I agree, right? And that's where, if we're thinking, right, if we're innovating, you need your team together, right? We need everybody in the room at the same time, and different eyes on this, looking at it from different angles, right? So to have the dream team working together, it's more important now to build your strategy than it's ever been, right? And I had another thought too, and it was on our podcast last week, is like Kevin Hursh had kind of said, maybe the right decision is not to do it, period. Right. And we've learned this, strategic coach, right? Strategy is sometimes not doing something, right? So how do you incorporate that into your plan?
Yeah, well, that's where it would take discipline and or somebody to say, you know what, this probably seems like you should, but you shouldn't because of these reasons, and make that decision. The other thing I really want to point out, this is huge. One thing my little brother, and I say little, but he's taller and more handsome and richer and faster and smarter and bigger. My grandpa said I couldn't beat him up on the bus forever, and it came true. But he always counseled me, Dan, why do you want to charge ahead and make decisions on your own? When you're wrong, you're alone. Mm-hmm. And if we want to be wrong, let's be wrong together, because we're going to be wrong in business. You're going to get it wrong. They have to make big decisions all the time on the farm. And I remember when they grew some hemp and it stayed in the bins too long, they couldn't get it to the processor, whatever happened in that. They had $900,000 of hemp that they couldn't, monetize in storage, and the bank had to let them use it for inventory. Well, they made that decision to grow that hemp together. It wasn't Terry's idea alone. Yeah. Because that gets awkward when all the combines are on fire. It was your idea. It's like I had a brainchild and turned out really bad. We're going to come back to this because I got a question because you guys said that you had a seller retain 30 million on a $70 million deal just to get it done. Let's get back to that in a bit, but let's get to our audience. Harry Seamans is saying, having watched farmers for 70 years, 15 on my dad's farm, and 55 years as a farm journalist, when farmers/investors are mostly looking to invest and make money, are they not quite so keen on farming the land, including land practices and the environment? It's two different businesses, the business of farming and the business of real estate.